All right, so now let's take a look at how to do an example for a process. All right, so a lot of students get really scared when they're looking at a process like we have here, right? And they think, well, this has to be different. This is different than doing a table, different than doing a pie chart. It's different. We can't do this? Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, same introduction. Look at it and describe in your own words what it is about. Okay, describe in your own words what it's about. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so that we can see better in terms of what it's about. All right, so up here we have their description of what it's about. It says the diagrams below show the life cycle of the silkworm and the stages in the production of silk cloth. Okay, again, I'm gonna keep saying this as I'm gonna start sounding like a broken record. You can't just repeat this information. You can't. All right, you cannot do that. You have to put this information. You have to look at the chart, right? Look at what they say, and put it into your own words to do an introduction. Put it into your own words. That's what you have to do. If you don't do that, you're not going to score very well. All right, you're showing a bad first impression. That's what you're doing. You're showing a bad first impression to the grader by you repeating the information exactly verbatim, word for word. All right. So you can't do that. So don't be that way. Okay. So here we're going to write this introduction. The first part describes the life cycle of the silkworm, and the bottom part describes the production of silk cloth. All right, so when we write an introduction, right, I just like to look at it without really looking at the language they use and write an introduction. But to do an introduction here, this is somewhat what it would look like. Okay, so I'm going to start off by giving you a really good example. All right. All right, so there we have our introduction. As we can see from the picture above, we have a process that describes two different types or forms. First, we have the procedure for a silkworm to go from birth to adulthood. And compound sentence here, everyone. Use your compound sentences. And in the second process, we can witness all the stages of the production of material made from silk. So here you can see good synonyms here. Instead of saying cloth, we use material. We have a lot of good synonyms here. We have our first sentence starting with the preposition as. Our second sentence is a compound sentence that describes both. So you can see here that we have a way of being able to do this introduction for a process. We're just using two sentences, and we're describing what we see. Now, some of you might say, well, could we have done it a little bit shorter? Yes. We could have taken this and made a shorter sentence. All right, I'm going to show you right now how to do this in terms of writing a shorter sentence. But we could have started off, we could have said, we could have just said this. As we can see from the picture above, we have the procedure for a silkworm to go from birth to adulthood. In the second process, we can witness all the stages of production of a material made from silk. Either way is fine, right? In the top one, I did it in two sentences, right? In example intro one, we did it in two sentences, and in example intro 2, we did it in one sentence. All right, so I'm teaching this to you in live time, and I'm doing that so you can really get a feel. This is the way I teach in class. All right, this is the way I teach when I teach students in class, and I'm teaching you the exact same way so that you can follow along with me in terms of doing it. All right, so that's an example of doing it with the process. Same thing, one or two sentences describing what it's all about. Okay, so let's move on to another one.